Hey, it's Ryan from Ryonet, and right now we're going to show you the new and improved X-Vactor XL. The X-Vactor XL has been remade over with a drying cabinet that has more fans in it. It's also got an exterior and interior that is completely aluminum. The inside of the cabinet is also changed. So not only does it have fans in it, but also has different slats. The slats are actually angled, so your mesh never sits on the slat. You know, if you're ever using a screen cabinet or something like that, a screen rack, and you slide your mesh in, it's always sitting on the slats. Well, these are actually not a 90-degree angle slat. It's an 85-degree angle slat, which makes the mesh just sit on the edge of the frame there, and the mesh actually does not touch completely like it used to. So right now we have the fans on. That's controlled on this switch right here. We can turn the fans on and off. It's got a real nice hum on it. It has dual fans on each side of the rack. So you have 2 fans up here on this side, 2 fans back here, with 8 fans in total. The top is amazing. I mean, you have really nice heavy-duty shocks on here. Everything's run onto Stego clamps, so it just clamps down really nice. Got a nice seal there. This just pops up. As are all our X-Vactors, this does come with a pre-registration template, and you can get the light-safe yellow option, which is great because if I'm in a dark room right here, I can take this screen and I can line it up. I can even, this is so big, I can even line it up like this. So I can change my registration template, tape it down here, and I can do all my pre-registration directly on my exposure unit like a light table, which is great because you don't have to have a light table and an exposure unit in your darkroom. You can just have one if you want to. Now, if you want more exposure area, you can also get this with complete exposure bulbs. The unfiltered UV T12 tubes used in the X-Vactor exposure unit are specially manufactured specifically for Ryonet. They have a special phosphorus coating on them with actually a silicone coat to ignite the bulbs faster, also make the bulbs brighter, and they will last 50% longer than the standard bulb used in any other exposure unit on the market. So you're going to get a faster exposure unit, and you're going to have to replace your bulbs fewer times with the X-Vactor series. The bulbs are controlled with this digital timer that's easy to understand, easy to use, and very, very precise. So it's easy to set your exposure times and dial in your exposure times, especially if you're using an exposure calculator. Let's take a look at the vacuum suction of this X-Vactor XL. Right now we're putting 2 screens in. As with any vacuum unit, we're going to be using a nylon cord to feed and let the air move between the screens. We'll then put them in the exposure position. We're using a special neoprene blanket. It's a high-grade neoprene rubber, unlike the wetsuit neoprene, so this is actually a lot stronger, will last longer. You'll have to replace your blanket less times. So let's start the timer now. Let this guy suck down. This is 2 frames. This will hold 2 23 by 31s exposed at the same time. Obviously, it will do 20 by 24, so you can do a lot. You basically double your screen exposure unit by using this X-Vactor XL. The vacuum actually sucked everything down in roughly 25 seconds, so it's pretty quick in order to get 2 screens exposed at the same amount of time. Now, this unit is built very, very strong, so you don't even have to keep the vacuum on. If you notice, you turn the vacuum off, we're not losing any suction, so it's got a really, really good seal. It's using a really nice blanket as well that really conforms all the way around the frame. As you can see right now, we're using a roller frame. You can see this vacuum suck all the way down all around the roller frame. Once your screens are done exposing, you can release suction, and the lid will automatically pop up. The X-Vactor XL is going to give you the highest quality unfiltered UV fluorescent light exposure because we're using optically clear, star-fired tempered glass, which very, very minimally, if anything, changes the light direction going into the screen. So you get very, very high detail exposures, even though you're using fluorescent tube, which typically you're not going to get as high detail with. Because our bulbs are brighter and we're using optically clear glass, you're going to get the highest level of UV exposure available with unfiltered UV fluorescent tubes. Kevin actually does a really good job of drying screens. This screen's been here for about 10 minutes and it's already dry. It was wet on both sides. Now obviously if you have 10 screens that are sopping wet, it's going to take a little bit longer. And this should be in a dark room with a dehumidifier in it anyway. This does not have a humidifier in it, but if you're using in a dry dark room that is dehumidified, it's going to dry screens way faster than just sitting in a rack by themselves. If you look on this side, you can see a little bit better, but this has weather stripping all the way around it, which gives it a nice seal. Once again, using the Stego clamps, and we got some very cool grids here that protect the fans. All the fans have meteor filters, which actually take out all the lint and dust. This does have a water drainage hole in the bottom, so you do want to clean this out every once in a while, but for the most part, this is airtight, and will not get dust in it while you're drying your screens out. The X-Vactor XL is a great exposure unit if you're looking to do larger exposure areas, you want to increase your exposure times by exposing 2 screens at once or using the high output UV bulbs, and it's great for expanding your screen printing business into automation if you're looking to speed up your times and make your shop more efficient. It's available with just the top, so it is available in a tabletop unit, and you can also get the cabinet, which is a nice option because it gives you 20 screens of storage and a great place to dry and store screens as well. Check out this XL at Ryonet.com or SilkScreeningSupplies.com. We also have the standard X-Vactor, which is a smaller version, available on the site too. Thanks again for watching. We hope you enjoyed the unit.